You won't believe what my future self messaged me. And the warning, this keeps getting worse. It started last Tuesday. I was lying in bed, doom scrolling through Reddit when my phone buzzed with a new message notification. At first, I didn't think much of it, just another spam text, I assumed. But when I checked, the message wasn't from any contact I knew. Don't go to the cafe tomorrow. No number, no ID, just that strange, short message. I figured it was spam, but the timing was odd. I'd planned to meet my friend at our regular cafe the next day. I brushed it off, chalking it up to a coincidence. But when I arrived at the cafe the next day, the entire street was blocked off by police tape. I watched as the paramedics wheeled out an injured person on a stretcher. Later, I learned there had been a gas leak in the building, causing an explosion just before I arrived. My blood ran cold. I couldn't shake the feeling that maybe, somehow, the message had been a warning. But who sent it? That night, I kept thinking about the message. Could it have been a prank? Maybe someone I knew was messing with me. But the feeling stuck with me, creeping up whenever I tried to sleep. The next day, I got another message. Don't take your usual route to work. It was from the same no ID sender. I considered ignoring it, but curiosity got the better of me. I decided to take an alternate route. Later, I learned there had been a massive pileup on my usual road, causing hours of delay. Some people had been seriously injured. I was too freaked out to brush it off this time. But who would do this, and how? I decided to reply, "Who is this?" The response came almost instantly, "You, from the future." I sat there staring at my screen, my hands shaking. Was this some kind of elaborate prank? But how could anyone have known about the gas leak or the pileup? It was too accurate, too personal. I replied, still skeptical, "Prove it." After a long pause, the next message appeared. "Check behind your bed. You dropped your passport." I hadn't seen my passport in weeks, so I figured this was my chance to disprove the whole thing. But when I checked behind my bed, there it was, right where the message said it would be. I felt a chill. Whoever was messaging me knew things about me that nobody else could. Over the next few days, the messages kept coming, each one more urgent than the last. Don't answer any calls from unknown numbers tomorrow. Avoid the 9th Street subway station this evening. Each time, I followed the instructions, and each time, I later learned something terrible had happened where I would have been. I was starting to believe this was really me. Somehow, my future self had found a way to send warnings back through time. But then, the messages started getting weirder. Don't eat meat today. Turn your phone off before you sleep tonight. I tried to ignore some of the stranger messages, but every time I did, something would go wrong. One night, I left my phone on, and around midnight, it started blasting a shrill, high-pitched noise that I couldn't silence until I pulled the battery. After that, I started following every instruction to the letter. Last night, I got a message that sent a chill through me like nothing before. At 11:47 p.m. tomorrow, you'll get a knock on your door. Do not open it, no matter what you hear. I couldn't sleep after reading that. I felt like I was losing my grip on reality. Who or what was going to knock on my door? I stayed up all night, pacing, my phone clutched in my hand, rereading the message over and over. And then, 11:47 p.m. came. I sat in silence, every nerve on edge, waiting, barely breathing. Then, as if on cue, I heard a soft, deliberate knock on my door. I froze. The knocking continued, steady and rhythmic. I remembered the message, "Do not open it, no matter what you hear." My instinct screamed at me to ignore it, but curiosity gnawed at me. "Who's there?" I called out, my voice shaking. There was a pause, and then a voice that sounded exactly like me replied, "It's you." "Let me in." My blood ran cold. I backed away, trying to keep calm. The knocking stopped, but I could still feel something or someone waiting on the other side of the door. I forced myself to stay silent, huddled in the dark until the knocking finally stopped around midnight. This morning, I woke up to one last message on my phone. "Good job, you're safe, but this isn't over." No further details, no explanation, just that cryptic warning. I tried replying, asking what it meant, but no messages have come since. I feel watched, like whoever or whatever was at my door might still be nearby, waiting. The text stopped, but the feeling of dread lingers. Every day, I wonder if something's still out there, tracking my every move. And if it comes back, I don't know if I'll be strong enough to ignore the knock a second time. This story could gain traction on Reddit due to its suspenseful plot, relatable setting, who isn't glued to their phone these days, and a terrifying twist that leaves readers wondering if the protagonist is truly safe. It has all the elements of a viral story, mysterious warnings, high stakes, and an open-ended finale that invites readers to theorize and discuss.